um, I think إنه يعني 7:04 احنا متعودين إن these webinars we start on time in respect to the very valuable times للسيد المحاضر وللسادة اللي مشرفينا. مستوعبة طبعا إنه some others, some more attendees are joining. Maybe by the time I take a couple of minutes in the introductions عندهم يبقى حلو يلحق برضو محاضرة الدكتورة on time. فإذا تسمحوا لي حضراتكم دكتورة دعاء, shall I start?
Sure, please.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the third of the series, the 12 next month webinars. I would love to start by welcoming our audience, our MBA and DBA candidates. I am also very happy to welcome the attendees from our business community, our partners in success. Attending with us today, representatives from Vodafone, Etisalat, IBM, Huawei, Nokia, Ericsson, Smart Card, Smart Village Company, eFinance, IDH, Sanyong, KPMG, Dora Group, Oracle, Microsoft, Sistel, Etida, Fairvand, Palm Hills, Evergrowing, Hani Seri Partner, Dar Al Fuad Hospital, EDN Hospitals, ABK Bank, HC Security, Sky Painting, وي بتروجيت، البورصة المصرية، مدينة الإنتاج الإعلاني، وهيئة حماية المستهلك. Welcome to the Arab Academy Graduate School of Business, Smart Village Campus. Despite of the international circumstances, the Arab Academy and the Graduate School of Business are optimistically continuing forward with our educational journey and mission. Our objective is to navigate through and hope to grow beyond the norms into new horizons. Be ready and ahead when the crisis is over and new normal is set. Our students and our business community are our priority. Our mission is to enable them with the knowledge and the tools necessary to understand the new reality in terms of management and business, as well as get them ready and ahead for a very near, better future. For that purpose, we are launching a series of webinars. One objective is to get ready. One mindset, we make the future. Without keeping you waiting any longer, please join me to welcome Dr. Doaa Salman, Professor of Economics at October University of Management and Art, MSA, Head of Economic Department, and the Vice Dean for Community Service and Environmental Affairs. Dr. Doaa's main research interest is in international trade and development. She has several publications in the same field. She's an expert in entrepreneurial empowerment and sustainable environment policies. Welcome, Dr. Doaa.
Welcome.
Thank you very much for being with us today. The floor is all yours. In case anyone have questions for Dr. Doaa, please write them in the chat, and the last 30 minutes of the webinar will be dedicated to answer your questions. I'll be back with you at the end of the webinar. Thank you very much for your patience, and the floor is all yours, Dr. Doaa.
Thank you, Dr. Shireen, and thank you, Arab Academy, for this invitation to share my knowledge and share what I have for the audience and for my colleagues. And thank you for the whole team. We have a powerful team in Smart Village. They are a unique team. They are dedicated, and I feel that I am within my family. So I thank all of them, and thanks for their support and their trust in me. So Dr. Shireen, when she asked me and she assigned to do a webinar series, I got confused and said, I will go and say a lot of things related to economics and things like that. But when she tell me what the next 12 months, I become so skeptical what I'm going to share with you. So I do my task, I search, and then I prepare all the presentation with the macro level. Then all I find at the end when I ask friends and members, what can I say to the people? Especially where I listen and I join many webinars, and some of them was interesting and other are not. So many of them told me that it is better to go for micro, for people themselves, where it will be more interesting. So after I finished the presentation, economic variables, economic indicator, I found myself that the people will find that this will be like a news, as if they are listening to the news in any TV or any place. So I changed the things, and then I change the whole cycle, and then I start to go for another point. So I put my own agenda. How can I share people their own experience and share the people how they are going to do within the coming period? So I put my agenda in a very simple way. History, where we can learn and we can do a plan, and then the resilience, which people are in need to adjust with it, and then the future or the expectation. When I prepare for the history, I find, which is I'm quite confident in it, that this is a time of recession. And I wrote a lot of paper in 2019 related to the recession, and I was expecting a recession focusing on trade war, oil prices, conflict of people, and the shares of the peoples and the countries between each other. But I never put in all expectation that we will have a mutation of coronavirus, which will be a dual shock. It's not only the expected shocks that I published in 2019, but it will be a dual shock, unexpected and unplanned recession. So is recession is a new things, or it is something that we used to it? So we need to know that this is something historically, it is repeating itself, and it is in history. Maybe we're not in that time in history to attend this recession, but we need to learn from it. Do recession that we have it have a pros and cons, and how we will pass through. So I will start the first part by the history. In order by, please look for history, because we are in need to look for what we can listen and what we can learn from the history. And then the resilience that we go for it. From this resilience and the adaptation and recovery and the practices that I'm going to share with you, a lot of practices all over the globe, how they overcome and how they can adapt, and then how they can thrive in the future. We will see that a lot of plans has been put in the future for 2070, 2050, where a lot of people have a very, very clear plan concerning the return on investment. So I will start my journey with you within my time with the webinar by starting by the history. So if you look here within this picture, you will find that COVID-19 will place us in a greater factor of recession than the 2008 did. So as you see here, we have a lot of type of recession, and this type of recession, people are down, productions are dropped, earning before interest and taxes has been drawing down, and we will find that people, unless they can recover and they thrive, they take time. We will see in 2008, a lot of people got out of business and then they shut down, and other people recover and they gain EBIT or net profit margin within 17%. When we go to after the Arab Spring, as you see here, after another recession that we exist in 2013-18, 1% survive and they become a loser, and we have other winner. If you go for 2017, you will find the scenario of accumulated growth rate has been changed dramatically. So this is historically. After I go for the research and look for the type of recession, we need to know that we have different type of recession, and this is based on the data of the World Bank here. Frequency of recession, and I got for you a simple data for 1982 till 2018, where we find developed countries with their old technology and innovation, they went to recession. And also emerging countries and developing countries, they also enter in a recession. But their recovery period and their overcoming of recession take longer and longer time than we can plan, or different from one country to another. And this is what we are going to learn. So if you see here, we have around 32 advanced economies, 91 emerging countries, and they are developing, which have available data of the potential growth between 1982 and 2018. Recession are normal, and this is happen, and this is reflect on negative growth rate of production for consecutive years, which is reflect negatively on output, high unemployment, and production is not available. So what are the types of recession that we learned from? We have different type of recession. We have shapes of recession. If you go for the first shape that I provided with you, it is a very nice shape. I love the V shape. It is took only just between the 1st of July till the 1st of June, where we can recover. I just dropped the economic growth by negative 3.6, and then I recover at the second quarter of 1991. The U shape, it is one of the very good shape, and I wish all the countries can overcome and get out of the COVID-19 within the V shape. The recession lasts only 8 months from 1990 till March 1991, and the economy growing very quickly. And it was severe at that time, but they recovered. When we go for the other type, which is the U shape take longer in time. And this has been one of the crises that exists in the 2008 financial crisis. Financial crisis, and put a lot of cost and lot of social impact, a lot of people. In addition to the oil crisis, if we go and proceed here, we will find that a lot of fluctuations, ups and downs. And this is what we call it the W shape. When we go for the W shape, you will find ups and downs, and it is related basically to the oil crisis. And the oil prices, when it increases, some gain from it and other one lose it. Because the cost of production, it is one of the factors that affect a lot of people. But when we proceed to the one that I didn't prepare at all, and when I go for it, it is the L shape. It is a recession that occurred in Japan, and it take a price of acid bubble in 1990. And it put the country for a huge drop of production since 1990, 1991, 1993, and it took years. And this acid price bubble affect negatively Japan. And this is what we call it the bubble burst. And then they took numbers of years until they recover. So from the curves that we saw it here, it is nothing new. We have recession and it exists, and we pass through it, and it can happen everywhere. So why we care about this recession and what we can learn from this recession? We can learn from the recession that we have fluctuation, uncertainty, and this uncertainty dramatically dropped the economy in a very negative impact. I put 2 hours here in 1991, and then I put another hours. It is just shifted a little bit because here it is for the 2008, and then the last one, which is the 2020, which we expected because of the trade war. But listen, my friends, 2020, it just passed because we are in July. So in July, we have to go further back in July than July. We will have a cure. And as you see here in a cure, we have 3 companies, AstraZeneca, Moderna, and another company, Swiss company, provide a vaccination. But what before July? We have in April, we have a very good indicator with the China cryptocurrency. Countries are overcoming. China tried to overcome, and they published their own Chinese currency, cryptocurrency, in order to accelerate the economic growth very fast. So pay attention. Yes, China started with the Feb, with the coronavirus. They spread it to the globe. But listen here. We went to the second shock, which is the corona, which is before the trade. So when we go and we list them, trade war with the 2019 between USA and China, and then we proceed with the coronavirus, and then finally we have the last one, which is the oil prices. 3 were at the same time, but pay attention. China in April, the producer, and they issue their cryptocurrency, waiting for the huge giant to grow. July, which is we are living in it, 3 companies already launched their vaccination for coronavirus, and they provide. And pay attention also that we have till November, and we have till November, it is the golden time for 2020. Because November we have the US election, and then we will find the economy will need to overcome the recession and to enter in the growth. All the data, all the indicators, as you see here, 2021, they are going to start to recover by 2021 because they will have new elections, and then we have the vaccinations, and then we can overcome all the shocks that we have. So we read from this data that yes, we are in drop, but I believe that the coronavirus is one of the V shape that we are going to recover because of the cost of putting in a recession longer time. It will be very painful and no one can afford for it. When we go and proceeds, you will see here that we have a downsizes of data, and we have lower countries, developing countries, and we have industrial countries. And here I need to focus very important on the portfolio of the countries. So since we are in a recession, we have Japan went to war, we have a lot of countries entered to the first and the second war, but they recover. We need to clarify the types of countries here. I don't want to be an oil country, and I don't want to be dependent in any of the commodity prices because I will be in an economy which is vulnerable economy. So how can I be good? How can I develop myself? I don't want to be one of the fragile lower developing countries. I don't want to be one of the lower countries because I need to develop my portfolio. When we go for the GDP for any country, we need to see what they are producing. They are producing what we name it $1 product, or a value added product, which is investment or innovative product. We will find that we have a huge gap between developing countries and developed countries. I was usually provide my students with the competitiveness index and let them to look for the competitiveness whenever they go. But unfortunately, I found that the competitive index indicator that has been published, what the word form is not up to the standard, and they issue another 2 types of reports, which is highly demanded. It is not only competitiveness by exporting highly value added. So we need to know what we are providing for the market, what we are producing to the market. Is it the $1 product, which is a commodity prices product, or we are going to produce innovative product which depend on digitalization, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, and many things that we're going to explore further and further. So the data here show us that the GDP per capita and the share of each person is dropping in this time. So we are in a time of a challenge, and how we are going to overcome this challenge. We don't want to place ourselves depending on the commodity prices and be when one of the loser countries such as Venezuela and other countries that they lose when they are dependent in one oil, a $1 product. So when I go for the comparison, I'm got shocked, literally, because the word competitiveness ranking that we have showed that countries keep their locations and keep the ranking similar to Singapore. The data for 2020 competitiveness showed that people keep their location. Other growth such as South Korea, other growth such as Denmark and Switzerland and Netherlands, and the ranking is better. The answer is that the portfolio of this country is not depending only on competitiveness, they are depending on digitalization. So their rank is not depending only in $1 products, but they depend on a digitalized products. But I'm got shocked another by time when we go for the word talent. This was very new for me when I searched, and I was usually depending on competitiveness. Who are the talented countries? So if you see here, you will find countries like India are keeping their ranking. Countries such as Taiwan, they are increasing in ranking, and this is because of the digitalization and the talents of these countries. They don't depend on their products or simple products or $1 product, natural products, exporting natural resources or simple products where they have it. So the competitiveness has been changed. They are depending on AI, Internet of Things. They are depending on many things that can make them have a higher advantage. So the word recently is in turbulence, and the 3 words that we mentioned before put the country and the globe in a huge turbulence. Who will sustain in this turbulence? Who will overcome this turbulence? The one who have a resilience, the one who can adapt quickly, the one who can very, very, very good to overcome these shocks. Because if you look here, because as you see here, India keep its locations. One of the things that we need to understand that it will affect negatively inside the countries, it is if there is inequality in the countries or not. Because I was shocked that there is a country that doesn't have death rate at all of COVID-19. One country which is exporting and the globe is depending on it and does not have any death rate. When I go for Singapore, they recover. But unfortunately, after the recovery, they went to another drop because they have a lot of people who suffer from COVID-19. Why? Because they have a lot of migrants and the conditions of working for this migrant is not good. So the pandemic spread once more and the country cannot recover quickly. So even Singapore, they are one of the top countries and one of the global countries in the competitiveness with innovations and high GDP per capita, but the inequality inside the country is one of the reasons that trapped the country of COVID-19. So we not must be happy by the money or the growth of GDP, but we are in need to make a balance between the rich and the poor, because the Asian countries, the Asian labor that they are working in Singapore, where they have not a good terms of environment or living and all, they are overcrowded in places, they spread the diseases once more. So we need to be patient with the growth and equality and decreasing the inequality in the economy, very, very, very important. So you look here for the turbulences and we have three and they are past, they are happened. So what happened later? We are in the golden time of investment. For the people who are looking for finance and the people who are investing, you will find here, if I still depend to buy products from oil exporting countries or countries that are depending on simple manufacturing product or $1 product, we will find that these countries will not have that much of economic growth so high. So if you go, let's say for GCC country, the highest percentage here for the data for the policy rate to attract people to put their money, it will be between 2.5% and 1%, which is the data of comparing between Jane and Feb in 2020 and March. All of the countries, all over the globe, whatever they are in the MENA region, they use the monetary policy to attract liquidity. So the government was responsible to overcome the crisis that we have it here. They use money supply. So as all of you know, that increasing the dependency of money supply all over the globe, United States was pumping and spending and injection $3 trillion within a week, or maybe, sorry, within a month, in order to recover the pandemic. So the huge liquidity that the government are spending here, we are going to pay the cost of it in the future, because increasing money supply and the production will not recover quickly. And my production in the MENA countries all over, it is just depending on $1 products. This will not give me that advantages. But the country who will gain, the one who are investing this liquidity and high amount of money in a very innovative and digitalized product where they can export it. And when you do your homework and search for the types of investment, you look for the billionaires, they are buying shares and they are investing in which type? They are investing in technology-based products such as in Apple, let's say in Amazon, and all these innovative products. And as I said again, it is the golden time for the people who have the ability to be risk taker. A lot of people are buying shares in many investing companies that depending on technological base or blockchains or things that they have something related to artificial intelligence. So after I go for the globe, I have to pass by Egypt. And look what happened to the Egyptian economy. I'm usually jealous for my country and I usually love it. So we need to look for the data here from April 2019 till April 2020. This is the recent data I got from the World Bank. So if we look here, we will find that in April 19, we are having a balanced inflation rate. But recently, we find that the prices decreases, but by April 2020, prices increases. And I'm quite sure in the coming months till the end of the year, the price level is going to increase. Why? Because the cost of productions, it is going to be increasing, as well also the output as well is dropped. So it is normally that the prices is going to increase till 2020, till we see what's going to happen by the 2021. So in order to overcome this, the country do what? The country start to decrease the interest rate, as you see here. The interest rate, as you see, has been dropped in order to attract investment. But pay attention, what kind of investment? Again, we need to look for the type of investment once more. We have a genius youth. We have a very innovative product, but I don't want the youth to be running away. Also, if you go for the reserves, in order to use the money, in order to overcome the drops, we find that we have a drop of liquidity, and this drop of liquidity will consequently reflect in the future on that, will reflect on the inflation rate, and this is will reflect on the cost of doing businesses, and unfortunately it will reflect negatively on unemployment. But when we go for the right-hand sided, which is the equity indexes has been dropped as well. All these measures reflects that we are in need to a quick resilience of the economy in order to overcome of it and then to shine and to grow and to develop, but not to repeat the mistakes of the history and to do the same thing that we did before and invest in the same product, because the value added in the gain will be very small. So after I went to Egypt, I need to go for the winner and loser. Any shock, despite that you know that the winners and the losers from COVID-19 completely different. Maybe any one of you can pass through this, but I try to relate the winners and the losers with the impacts, because we will see here the risk factor, because the basic things, as you know, all of us know that is important. We name it inelastic product, necessary product. I cannot live right now without the Zoom, and I am in the safe mode. I'm so lucky, and you also are lucky, because both of us are working in the safe industry and in the industry where they have lower risk. But if we go for people who are going to higher risk, they need to go out, they need to work in the stores. The people who are going to work in places, real estate, they are in a moderate risk because their products also is inelastic product. But unfortunately, we have a huge loser, and these losers present 45%, I think, from the economy. Why? Because we have luxury products, airlines, aviations, hospitality, and by the structure of the many of the MENA countries, we will find that depend on tourism and rental economy. So we are having a higher impact from COVID-19. So do the cycle will maintain. I find the country that I mentioned for you at the beginning that doesn't have zero deaths, they open their economy and the tourism start to recap, and they open the doors with certain regulation, and they are very aware about the precautions, and then they recover quickly. They put the industry from the highly risk to the moderate risk, and they attract people, and they have reservation right now, the country that I didn't mention right now. So is it easy to move from one high risk to moderate risk? Honestly, in the Egyptian economy, when we open the economy with a 50% capacity, operational costs will be very, very high, unfortunately. Maybe in some industry, we are not going to reach 50% for the capacity, which means that I will never cover a break-even point. So do not cover the break-even point, which means it is better for me to keep. I ask many places when I ask for them, do you have rooms for vacation? They said, no, sorry, operational costs will be very high. We are very skeptical in order to open back. So this is will represent a high cost as well. It will reflect negatively, unfortunately, on the unemployment. So it is very important to go for these factors, the potential losers, how they can overcome, how we can gain from them. One of the very inspiring story in the driving and automotive industry and the rental cars in China. So I read a lot about how they overcome. Rental company in China, they present one of the success story where they overcome the COVID-19 after the openness of the Chinese economy to the economy. They start by avoiding the congestion that they have it, and they provide a car for a single person for transportation with the hygiene and awareness and everything. And the company recap quickly because people will not stop living. So we have stories here, a lot of stories, as I mentioned here, of the hospitality industry and the tourism sector from the country that I mentioned that does not have zero deaths, and they have already attacked people from COVID-19. We have automotive industry. They changed the type of industry to electric vehicle, as we're going to see. So winner and loser all over the globe, but the adaptability and the resilience, it is different from one country to another according to their preparation. So history finish. We know many things about history. We need to go how resilience model work. So when I Google for the resilience model, I found that a lot of schools open education for resilience and how they adapt and how they overcome and how they can grow and how they can expand. And then I put myself in this place and I start to teach myself what are the resilience model in order to cope. So I find that in order to thrive, the example that I'm going to show it to you, we need every one of us, every country, every business, every person, anyone can pass through that model, that how to bounce. If anyone is diving, the bounce effect is very important. If anyone is going for swimming, bounce is very important. If you are not bouncing well, then you are not going to enjoy diving. So let's see what are the stages of this resilience model. So when we go for the resilience, it is stages. Everyone do it very simply, very nicely. Survive. I'm in shock. I have not to be panic. I have to respond to the shock. How to plan and how to change. When I search for the survive, how we initially respond to the adversity or the anxiety. People differ in resistance to stress. Our capacity to remain calm and think in a very good way, it is very important, because are we have a good self-esteem? Do we have the capacity of managing emotion? In surviving, we have not to be related to any emotions. We have to focus at the same point to all individuals and not to be negative to stress them. So never go for self-criticism. Never criticize yourself, because this will put you in a toxic situation or ill health. You will never think. The good things in this survive at this stage is usually temporary. أحلى حاجة فيها. The best things. So to survive, it is temporary stage. We have to learn to adapt quickly, and then we go for the second stage. If we respond quickly, we need to adapt. How to adapt with this risky situation? Adapting to adversity, it is very important about the personality, not to decline yourself in negativity, to change, to prevent things from getting worse, to freeze the situation. This requires paying attention to our feelings, to reaction, to behavior, moving outside our comfort zone. So some people, when I said to them, you have to work with this one and that one, he said, no, we need to work with friends. No, we need to move from our comfort zone. As I place myself in looking for different sciences in order to share with you a very potential things that you can enjoy it and worth watching at least. From one of the getting yourself out of the comfort zone in order to learn more and to draw upon support of others. Adaptation is necessary step before recovery. Before you go to the recovery, you adapt yourself, you work with people, you increase your performance, and this is what we call it adaptability. How to reach when you pace in your uncomfortable zone, how you manage it. Then if I succeeded in working in the uncomfortable zone, which is all we have been placed, we don't have any choice to be working in different situations, we need to recover quickly. We have to build our capacity. We need to overcome the uncertainty. What is your strengths? What is the value added that you have? What are the things that you have? Every one of us have a positive things. You have to explore the strengths. So this third stage is very important about the ability to bounce back and return to how things were and before that setback and relax and how we can gain. This requires taking responsibility to recover. Then you need to take responsibility of doing things. Never put yourself in the place of victims. I am the victim of this. I am the one who lose. No. Actively find solution to the problem, whatsoever the solution. When you find a solution for a problem and it is clear with objective, very defined, you are driving yourself in a happy mood, continuing recovery with the progress in the thrive state. If you drive yourself in this happy mood and self-belief and the strength point and the positive thing that you excel in it, congratulations. Then you can thrive, you can glow, you can shine, you can benefit. So here it is the process of implementing normalization and sustainability. I need to sustain the situation. I love this stage, and I wish all of us all over the globe, every one of you, enjoy the thrive stage. And we will see later how many businesses looking for this thrive stage, how we can grow and become more resilient. And here, the thrive stage about learning and growing stronger. What I learned, I study a lot, I learned a lot, I practice a lot, I develop my things a lot. So this required the ability to reflect. What is your gain and how you can reflect on these past experience from the survive. And then you go to behave consistency with our values and principles in life, and then you equip yourself with resilience to cope with a better adversity and different environment and different situation. So do we have resilience in reality? Do we have these things? So need to look for this resilience strategy. Since I'm an economist, so I have to share with you different types of strategies. What are these strategies? I sum these strategies, it is not related to someone. The model of resilience is not, it is one of the very well-known authors from UK and the theories of UK. But this is from mine. I developed this strategy to recover. How we can recover? We need to recover revenue for business. I go back from the macro level or global level to the business model. How we can recover revenue, how we can adapting and prioritizing things, very important. So reshape and survives. So we need to look for these three stages of economy. In economics, we have three types of economy because yesterday, one of my friends, Doaa, I want to do a coffee shop. What do you think? Is coffee shop is good things? Doaa, I want to do an app. This is a good one. Doaa, I want to make a farm. Doaa, is good or bad? So I tell them which type of economy you are going to do. It is traditional. So if I'm using a traditional things, coffee shop, things that is normal, then I place myself in the $1 products. What do you mean by $1 product? Which is the value added. I will gain similarly margin. It is not risky, but it is not a unicorn project. And then we go for another types of businesses, which is called the shareable economy or the circular economy. And this is what the whole globe, and this is how they expand. And this is how they thrive across the top countries that I show you to the competitiveness. We need to look for this circular economy and how we can reuse the resources and how we can share our assets. And maybe one of you use Bouquet, this is called shareable. Maybe one of you use Uber, and this is called shareable economy. Someone have an asset, another one use an app, and someone got a benefit, and everyone, it is called a shareable economy. So one of the very interesting things that I learned from my investigation for the shareable economy is something called prosumers. There is a company here, it's called Threadless. I never heard about it, honestly. This company is existing in US. They are genius. The professor there in Illinois was sharing the Threadless in one of the Harvard Business School articles. What he said, that people, they allow consumer to design products, and they sign the products and they market for the products. You understand? Can you think? I'm not going to provide you with a t-shirt or a product and then I give it to you. No, they ask the consumers to be the producer, to put their design, to sign the design, and then they write their names, and here they can market for the product. So the consumer create a product and he is marketing for it, and then it is expanding. And this is very interesting, very, very interesting. And it is one of the companies that it incur a lot of profit. It's just a t-shirts, but using different techniques with different things. So this is what we call it, one of the e-businesses, online things where they can gain a lot. I have a lot of questions I cannot answer anymore. I will overview them later, or I can overview what the country mentioned. I would never mention it right now. I have to keep it for the last. This is the suspense for the audience, to keep audience listening. What is the country? Because I go for the word, the clock, to see what is the country that it does not have zero deaths and have and you have Google it. Maybe you find it before we finish this the webinar. What is your advice for small business? Wait, my dear, I didn't start yet. The small businesses. Adaptability is very important. And yes, all the things related to e-business. So to keep the people on the path with me, and I answer the questions, okay? So let's go for use the CRM to rebuild operation, resilience model. Here, when we go for COVID-19, it gave us a huge shock because we need to go for de-globalization. So if we go back to the openness of the economy, the more the open the economy, the more the risky in the time being. So we need to go for de-globalization. When we go for the CRM, we need to do what we call it regionalization of supply chain. And this is one of the same country that they do regionalization when the United States enter in a conflict in China, when country like USA have a big conflict with China for the trade purpose, they go for another region where they can avoid the risky situation and they provide the value chain. One of the very interesting things also in CRM and the digitalization, the value chain. One of the very success story is the 3D printer. I usually find one of the students or one of the friends doing a project looking for 3D printers for doing maquette and doing the projects for engineering and something like that. But we didn't know that they are doing 3D printer shareable economy. So let's say Doaa have a 3D printer and Rimon need, for example, a product. So Doaa will put on the internet that you have a 3D printer and she can provide. And Rimon will ask me, Doaa, do for me a mask. Doaa, do for me a product. And then I become the owner of the machine and as well also a supplier. So they use it in a medical sector, they use it in the ventilator, they achieve abnormal profit and they get the benefit from this technology using digitalizing and value chain. So one of the very interesting things, and this is what we grow and accelerate. So it is very important. Everyone know AI, Internet of Things, and all the digitalizing things. But unfortunately, we didn't prepare yourself, or developing country didn't prepare themselves for cybersecurity. When we go for conferences, normal conferences abroad before the COVID, we find that we're doing economics conference, and the other avenues, they are doing cybersecurity. So they are very fast. They develop the product, they want to secure it, they want to maintain it. So they are in the strive stage and they want to reach sustainability. So one of the challenges that the economy of the developing country is the cybersecurity and the attack that they can find it in the future. So how we thrive, recover, resilience. This is model sales of, this is one of the company that lost. You will see that you can choose which strategy, which affect your EBIT, the effect from low level to high level. If I have a low level of impact, so can I use e-commerce, which is available for everyone. But if we go for something higher, which more than 50%, we need market efficiency, another demand planning, looking for another consumers, different packing, as many of the Chinese company gain from the packing and assortment of the product to sell a safety product, and they expand. If I have a higher impact, negative impact on my revenues and on my earning per interest and earning before interest and tax and the EBIT for a habit. So here we will find that the customer experience safety, how we can keep the customer experience safety. And this is happened on a lot of educational program to keep the customer and to keep the students and to keep the learning in a safe year. So safety, we focus on the safety and using analysis, and then how we can manage. But what happened for the highly risky businesses? Either they do channeling mix, different sales restructuring, or they do merge and acquisitions move. And this is, we will find it for many companies in the coming months. The company who are bankrupt or shut down or whatsoever, they will acquired by other big company. And this is when we have a high negative impact on my EBIT. Do we have companies that thrive? Do we have companies that grow? Yes, this company, when they go for a circular economy, utilizing the waste. By the way, we have many engineering. We have recyclopedia engineering. We have Instabug engineering. We have a lot of businesses model that exist in Egypt, but they are being working abroad because they don't have the good infrastructure in order to thrive. So we need a good infrastructure to attract this. They introduce the renewable resources. They take bio-based material, chemicals, and this we have a lot of reutilizing the waste resources. It's not simply to take the papers or the waste from houses or anything like that. No, it's not only recycling. It's just a new product, reverse logistics, design the product with a different innovation product. And please, we need to better utilize our wasted capacity, because we are underutilizing a lot of places and underutilizing a lot of resources. When we find the potential survey, there is a very interesting survey I would like to share it with you. This survey by Gartner survey showed that 70% of the supply chain leader plan to invest in this circular economy. What are these activities? We need to know what are these types that attract the businesses. So we will find technology currently in use, they are around 34%, the total technology in use, the one in blue. The one in yellow, technology pilot to use circular activity. And the one in gray, considered use technology with activity within the coming 5 years. So when we go for this activity, we find the Internet of Things. It is one of the very interesting activities: 3D printer, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and blockchain. And when I go for blockchain, I try to investigate what is blockchain and how we can get benefit from it. So maybe all of you know that the blockchain, it is information about transaction and data and time and money transfer from one place to another. And the very well-known example, it is the Amazon. Instead of using your actual name or purchasing, you are using your digital signature. One of the very interesting things also in the blockchain information, the transaction, date and time and everything's using e-wallet. From these blockchains and the growth that we find it abroad and people using cryptocurrency and a lot of things like that, I was shocked when I find that people in China, when they are begging and when they are asking for money for lileh, for example, they using QR code. They never hold money. So they have their QR code. So please, I need money, give me money. So how they can have this money? They use QR code. And when you Google it, China applied, no one hold money because they have a very strong financial inclusion. So sometimes we put our QR code in our names, but we never know that this QR code can be for any transaction. A very simple person who are selling fruits or pizza or sweets anywhere, they don't have money in their hand, they're using QR code. Do we have such things? Do we go for these things? I'm not quite sure that this exists. Do we have businesses that move from survive stage to thrive? I know Uber very well, and many of you know Uber very well. And when we go for the data of Uber riding, they find that they lose around $2.9 billion, by the way, which is more than the Egyptian economy, 5 times, 6 times, I don't know. However, this is a huge loss. So they lay off 14% of the workforce. Uber acquired what we call it Postmates. It is one of the companies that is abroad. What Postmates? It is a small company and they are using robotics in US in order to deliver the products and use it for safety. How much should they pay in addition to their loss? So they lose 2.9 and also they acquire this company 2.65. Why? Because if you go here and look for its market share, it is 8%. And Uber Eats, it is 22%. So they become a very good position abroad in their delivery. So if we turn back to the recovery model, If we go for the recovery model and look for this, so I will need to go back a little bit. You will find they are moving the what stage? The merge and acquisition stage. Why? Because they need to thrive. They are not going to leave the market. Money is available. They can take it from banks. They can borrow. They can have a trust. They can guarantee more labors. But if you Google Postmates, you will find it very interesting. You will find the small machines that are like a robot. They are delivering to the neighbors products for safety and security, and they are booming. And they are having a very good optimistic situation for the food delivery in May 2020. And this is how they thrive. So Uber Eats thrive, they gain, they have a huge value added, and they gain around 107 million in 1 quarter. And this is what we name it unicorn projects. They are not looking for the traditional economy. They are not looking for the $1 economy. They are not looking for the simple value-added economy. They need to thrive. Do we have another model? Maybe you listen about this. You know, Facebook, Netflix, YouTube, we are connecting. We are all connecting. Maybe the connections that we have it, we don't know how many people use from the traffic. So you will see here that the websites increases by 27%. Netflix, which was us, they are selling the company for one of the other company, but they refuse to buy it. Nowadays, they are growing in this time by 16%. This is the timing between June and March 2020. So all the data are recent, and we go for YouTube as well. You will find it is growing plus 15%. So we are looking to connect and to maintain and looking for another segmentation and using our mobiles and using our phones. So this is another stage of thrive, but it depends on technology and innovation. One of the things that I will never, I can't dare not to mention it, is Zoom, the one we are using. I never heard about it before. Till Doaa, tomorrow you are going to go to the lecture via Zoom. What is Zoom, my friends? Doaa, try to Google it and you will find it. Zoom, tomorrow you have a lecture. So when we go for Zoom, no one was looking for Zoom. And Zoom is using one of the very interesting things. I need to share it with you. Something called in marketing, freemium products. If I want to call Muharram and I don't have a paid Zoom, I will tell him, go Muharram for the link, and then we will chat for only 40 minutes. But if I want to take a lecture in Arabic, can it be, please give me the code, give me the password? So they pay for this. This is what we call it premium products. As well, if you go for Dropbox, if you are looking, this is one of the very interesting, very interesting things that we need to know for the marketing, freemium and premium product. The freemium, you are offering the services for free, but you pay attention, it's nothing for free. I learned this from one of my students in Fowri. He is one of the brilliant engineers here in the Arab. They will say, we give something for freemium and then we give the premium very well paid. And this is what Zoom is doing, and anyone can do it like that. I got shocked when I look for the data, honestly. When we go for 2019, 60 million, and we will go for 2020, too much benefit. They are having quarterly revenue from the video communication. This is how they thrive. But I'm not going to only to Zoom, because Zoom it is one of the success stories, and we have to go back to other companies that they need to make resilience in order to overcome these shocks. Zoom, Slack, they increase 40%, and other software, retail, publishing, all these things are in need to grow, and they gain a lot of between 40% and 52%. This is how they can thrive. Resilience. To resilience in a country where we have a huge debt. So how can I grow? I need to be aware about the macro level. I have to go my home back, and I have to go my country back. So this curve shows that we are fighting recession. But unfortunately, while we are fighting recession, we need to fight also the debt. And we need to know why there is a huge war between China and US and the other countries. Because simply, very simply, the curve, it is very reflecting that here, United States have 31% of the global debt, which represent more than 104% of the GDP. Yani you have £100 that you are owning more than you have to produce, which is very, very risky. If you go for China, government, I'm saying government debt, it is only 9.8%, which is nothing. It's 50%. It is in the safe level. As if I'm borrowing money from one of my friends and I said, Doaa, how much will be income? 10K. Okay, give me 5K, safe. But if my income is 10K and I'm borrowing 11K, this is very risky. And this is the problem of the United States in the coming future, which is in vulnerable situation. If we Google a little bit, and if we go for, this is my lovely country where I live, it is only 0.3 from the global GDP of the global debt. So we are in a very safe place. We are in a very small place, and in a very safe place is only 0.3% of the debt. So it is not a big deal. But we are we are nothing instead of the one who have the machine and they are printing the money whatsoever they want, and they have a big trap. So government challenges all over the globe, I'm not mentioning certain country, they are facing that problem, which is how they can fight inequality and poverty in the coming future due to the recession. So it is very important. So we need to embrace digitalization. We need to spread in digitalization. We need to develop our curriculum and our products to digitalization. We adapt to localization of products, very important, because the openness of the economies become more risky than the the openness of the economy become risky than the closeness of the economy. To self-sufficient, safe, and have things. So we need to go for the graphs that we mentioned before. Not competitive. I'm not going to produce something for cheap. No, I'm going to develop a very talented product, and I have to add services as well. So adding a developed and talented product and services will provide me to thrive and sustain and be in a safe place. Business challenges. This is country challenges we need to know. We are in a safe place in Egypt, but when we go for business challenges, this is very important. How to recover. I have to relate to the recessions and the types of recessions. Why you put these, Doaa? Why you are putting these types? Trust. Who is the more trusted countries? Who are having more trust? From where the products are going to come? These are the trusted countries, and this is where the companies are going to come. So you have India, they are trusting it. China, they are trusting them. They are confident they overcome United States 50% and so on. So business challenge on my own advices, they have to save cash in order to survive for the coming. Forgo pricing increases in the time of recession, because this will accelerate the inflation and will give a substitutional effect. Recreate your digital products, and digitalization, it is one of the very things that we need all of us to understand and look for digitalization, because we are so lagged years and years from the developed countries in digital marketing and using products and developing products and using our apps. So we need to make a channel shifting in channel mix, so we don't have to depend on one product, and share employee our problems. And sure, when we communicate, this will give us a sustainable model. So using reverse innovation, this is one of the Harvard, I cannot stop sharing it honestly, because this is Harvard Business Journal chair for us. Use reverse innovation to avoid any uncertainty. Fast customization, shift your sales to channel mix, and recover quickly as you expected, and rapidly innovate. Try to innovate based on your learning, and spot on new consumers' habits. What are the different habits that we have? We have a lot of activities, we have a lot of things, we have a lot of opportunity. COVID-19, honestly, will give innovative company the time to provide customer with product they want them to use. Not they want it, the company will dictate the consumers what they buy and what they are looking, similar to the words for Steve Jobs. So we go for the future. I'm almost to finish, Dr. Shireen. I know that I exceed my time. I have here the future. It is not too early to prepare for a new next pandemic. Do we can have another pandemic? Yes. Be prepared that you will have another and another and another recession history, because recession means business. Recession means people will win. We need to be ready. So give the profound future uncertainty in healthcare. So you have to be aware that it can be repeated, it can be grow, it can be duplicated, whatsoever. Learn from the country such as Vietnam. Vietnam is the country that have 0 deaths. I Googled it for 7 days to confirm that Vietnam is the country that have 0 deaths, and they are attracting a lot of tourism till now, and they are adapting very fast. They are developing countries, they are very efficient, but their resilience was very fast. I have been reading in Vietnam for a longer time in order to know how they go to this success story. No risk of human resources at all. So minimize the physical and economic pain here, don't panic, but we go for our future expectation. Our future, honestly, if you are going to depend on $1, keep yourself sleepy. But if you go for 2030 and 2025, you will find that the businesses are depending on smartphone applications, mobile subscribers, and electric vehicles. Internet of Things is going to boom in the coming 2030, and it is expecting to be 50 billion. Do you have share for this industry? Do you participate in one of these industry? Because you need to grow more and more in this, or need to develop or participate. So there are many untapped opportunities. Don't be frustrated. It is usually there are untapped opportunities to reverse innovation in the fight against any pandemic or any crisis or any uncertainty. Create rapid response team to fight. This is my advice to the end. Invest in medical sector. You will find one of the largest and the lowest cost of vaccination maker in the world is in company in India. The largest and the lowest at the same time. I'm not going to give you data for numbers whatsoever, but invest in medical sector, in elastic product, very innovative and very important. So when you pull your innovation globally, integrating digital technology, using AI, pay attention that they are using what we call it thermal scans of the crowds. They are developing very interesting things. They are not going to go for a doctor and the doctor tests you and you do things. They are using artificial intelligent thermal tests for crowding in order to overcome the risk. And maybe all of you know this. So we need to invest in this. My last slides. And crises have a highly dynamic path. And when we have in a crisis, we usually panic. Don't panic, which requires constant reframing of your mental model and path, honestly. Initial ignorance gives way to discovery and sense making, then crisis planning and response. Recovery strategy, post-recovery, and finally, reflection and learning. Since I spent my times in COVID-19 at house, I keep learning, I keep reading, I keep teaching myself because I found myself lagged too much. I'm just specialized in economics and factors indicator, but I find myself I'm going for marketing, finance, politics, a lot of things in order to have a dynamic path, not to be one-minded on one window. I wish you enjoy the presentation, and this is the gain from the crisis, and this is my final journey with the last slides, and I can read the chats. I can see what they are asking for. Thank you, Dr. Shireen.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Doaa. It was indeed very enlightening, and the sequence and the design of the presentation leading to this conclusion has absolutely made it exceptionally easy for people that are not into economics, such as myself, to grasp a lot about what's happening and what to look forward to. We are moving now to the question and answer section, and I'm responsible myself about a couple of them. But before we do, إذا حضرتك تسمحي لي as the lecturer معنا a very exceptional participant النهارده in the webinar, and I would like to thank الأستاذة الدكتورة إيناس برسوم مستشار رئيس الأكاديمية لشؤون الطلاب that she has found among her very busy schedule the time to join us النهارده. Thank you very much, Dr. Ines. And we are very happy and we are very proud لوجود حضرتك معانا النهارده. دكتور دعاء I think السادة الوكلاء يمكن دكتور ريمون النهارده هو
Yes. Yeah. Because I want to take over from Dr. Sheen because I think I opened the questions by a very specific question concerning China, because we all hearing about the conspiracy theory about China, and they are releasing and creating this virus to dominate the world economy. In your opinion, is China will be affected economically, or they will be boosted after this COVID-19?
Okay, so I have to be precise when I am asking things. I will not make estimation because uncertainty is very high. Because all my professors and all the people nowadays, we cannot make higher expectations. But let's say, China is a communist party. China doesn't care about people die, millions. In the era of Mao, they lost 56 million, and no one listened about it. When they fight corruption, they sacrifice by millions. So they will recover, especially for what? Especially when you go for the things that we call it for Huawei, let's say, for example. Huawei represent a threat for China. Why? Because they have a new software or an application where they can use it and they can transfer transactions without need to Visa and MasterCard. And this is represent as threats for the financial liquidity. China use nowadays the 5G. China nowadays developed. China nowadays have a military power. China nowadays have a very huge military power. And if you hear today in the news, and I was shocked that they took a small island in Iran where they are putting their troops there. So China is expanding everywhere. China was spending around $160 billion in Africa before United States. So they will recover without you requested or you didn't request. And the problem is the debt problem. Coming time.
I think there is a connection problem.
Yes, I think there is a connection. Until Dr. Doaa comes back, استسمحك دكتور ريمون, if we take 1 minute, دكتور دعاء استسمح حضرتك دكتورة إيناس, she would like to say a word. دكتور ريمون بعد إذن حضرتك, I think بس هي الدكتورة إيناس, she's muted.
I opened for her, yeah. I already
نرجع نستأنف الأسئلة. Thank you.
Hello, Dr. Shireen. Can you hear me?
Yes, Dr. Ines, welcome. حضرتك منورانا النهارده.
Dr. Doaa, Dr. Muharram, Dr. Rimon, Dr. Shireen, of course. It's my great honor to be with you on this interesting webinar. Thank you very much for initiating it, Dr. Shireen. Thank you, Dr. Muharram. Thank you, Dr. Rimon. And definitely thank you very much for a very interesting talk. Dr. Doaa was very informative, very analytical, and very hopeful. I actually am getting a lot of positive vibes from your talk. And I do hope we have more of that. I just feel that all of us need to put all our positive energy together to take care of the challenge we are all facing. And I just want to tell you one thing, if you allow me for a minute. I've been attending webinars from Harvard Publishing, and when you listen to all those international speakers, you get a feel that, well, we're not doing that bad. they actually are having, they had the same shock that you spoke about, even in education, even with technology, they had the same thing. And we definitely all need to go into this stage of resilience, adaptability, and hopefully getting over. Thank you very much indeed. It's been really a great honor, and I'm getting a lot of يعني interesting things وبتعلم جامد قوي منكم كلكم. Thank you for having me on, Dr. Shireen, and all my lovely colleagues. And definitely thank you very much, Dr. Doaa.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ines. Thank you very much.
نورتينا وشرفتينا يا دكتور. ربنا يديكي الصحة يا فندم. Thank you very much, Dr. Doaa. And back to Dr. Iman, the floor is yours.
Okay, and by the way, we have another question from Dr. Ines Barsoum to be in line with Dr. Ines. Her question is, what is your advice to small businesses that are endangered within the challenge?
Okay. For small businesses, honestly, they are in a very highly risk situation. Yes. Why? Because they want to cover back their initial investment, but it depends on the type of the investment that they have. It as I mentioned, I will not mention any type of names of softwares that they are using, but honestly, we have a genius engineering, and they are creating outstanding application, and they are doing it by their, what we call it, bootstrapping. They're doing by their own money. They are investing by their money, and they are expanding. And we find companies like EFG Hermes, they are buying shares and they are waiting for the recovery. So, by the way, the Arab Academy is doing a very good initiative in the entrepreneurs, and I attend one of the seminars that they do it. It is very inspiring. So we have engineering, and they know quite well what are the types of product and types of goods that they can export it. We have a lot of mechanical engineering. We have a lot of designer. We have a very brilliant people here in Egypt, and they can create. So they are in risk, but we know that in finance, with a high risk, there is coming a high return. They are youth. They can take the risk better than me and you, and they are motivated and they are passionate by it, and they succeed in it, and they do it. One of the days I found that another American one person who create a robotics for diagnosing the symptoms of COVID-19. Honestly, after a week, I find an Egyptian engineering doing the same robotics, and he publishing, and he will show it to أكاديمية البحث العلمي. So we have the potentiality, we have the golden resources, but we need to keep them. We need to hold them and give them the opportunity, unless they are going to fly away.
Okay, well, great. Another question from Christine Hanna. It's actually a little bit long question. She is saying, adaptability is very important, but not all people are capable for such quick adaptability. She is asking how we could inspire them to leave their comfort zone.
Okay. As I mentioned, yes, it is very interesting. Adaptability, I find that there is schools and the training institution exist all over the globe, teaching how people they can adapt and how they can reflect on themselves. I want to share with you one of my experience in the 1990s when I was in UK training, and the mentor that I have told me, Doaa, reflect on your project. And I said, what is the reflection? I don't know what is the meaning of reflection. How you find it good or bad. So we need to develop this adaptability and thriving in education, because we never place in the comfort, usually we place the comfort zone with our friends, we go to university with friends, we go to work with recommendation. So we need to work in uncomfortable zone in order to explore our skills. It is by learning, it is by schooling, it is by practicing, it is by allowing ourselves to explore more and more and attend more and more, as if I told you, similar to what I said, what reflects, what can we gain?
Well, Muhammad Tharwat addressed another question. He's saying, are we going to the e-business And what I mean, it's the right time for the industries to transfer its business to online business.
It's already too late to this question. Already
Yeah.
industry move. If you are not moving online, you are out of date. No one will know you. The delivery board for ironing the clothes is doing this. The person who is the one who is putting for me fruits and vegetables is doing this. So if you are not online, you are out of date. I didn't say that you have to stop offline stores, but honestly, have to be seen for people. We buy everything, we buy online, we shop by online, we put products online. So it has become more safer, but if you didn't do that, you are out of date.
Yeah, and this is referring to our previous question, adaptability, that we should adapt with what's going on
exactly.
right now.
When I explain my own personal experience, I used to teach students and look in their eyes and I focus on them and this. See if they're following, and next day, Doaa, you are going to go to Zoom. Doaa, you are going to make tomorrow the exam online. Come on, how can we do this? If I cannot adjust it quickly, it's this is similarly to what? To the agriculture sector. If we go for history, if I used to go to the farm with my tools and I didn't want to leave them, I will keep working with my tools in the farm. But if I'm not adapting very quickly, what's going to happen? I will be outdated, my income will be very low, and I will be out of labor market. So this is your call. You are the one who have to learn, or you keep at your place.
Yeah, definitely. Then we have last two long questions from Dr. Shireen.
I can help you with that, Dr. Management, if you wish. Thank you.
Management, you could,
If you allow me.
Okay, I can take over.
Please.
Yes, Dr. Ines.
Yes, Dr. Ines. Today, Dr. Ines, with great pleasure.
In terms of e-business, I think we need to give due respect to our academy for having been a pioneer in giving a degree in e-business. And that was back in the beginning of the 2000s. And actually, we had a number of graduating classes who are specialists in e-business at a point when that was almost unheard of very much. So I think I just needed to give recognition in that respect. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ines. Thank you very much. And it's very true. Even in the postgraduate study, the e-business focus has been present in the curriculum of the Arab Academy for very long years. يمكن كمان سابقة الأكاديمية في artificial intelligence. I mean the investment of the Arab Academy in technology and technology enabling across different sectors have been outstanding. This is very true. Thank you very much, Dr. Ines. Dr. Doaa, I have two questions. حقيقي المحاضرة بتاعت حضرتك was so inviting and يمكن my first question was a bit on the individual level. I mean, we look to businesses and then we look to individuals. And يمكن one of the questions is you already know that yourself, generation Y is getting close to retirement, generation X is even getting ready for that. So, and we live in a society that has the habit of consumption and spending more than being on the economic version of life. What is your advice for individuals in managing their economies in order to reach a safe retirement?
Okay, so this is the first class lecture. Usually I have been asking where to invest, where to put our money, is it good or bad? I usually said that we make diversification to minimize risk. So we know that the most important factor that will never stop shining, it is gold, my dear. So the first type of investment is gold. If you have a good fortune, you have to go to invest in gold. It will never drop in prices. If you have a little bit of risky whatsoever, you are in retirement or not, it doesn't matter. And you will see that I attend one of the seminars in Singapore, and they were saying that we are in the golden time. of buying stocks, and we have a lot of the very well-known names. They sell all the shares in aviations, and they sell all their investments, and they buy shares in Apple and in Amazon and all the growing. If you are a person who have the second requirement or second choice, it is in stocks. And the third one, which is the never decline, it is the real estate. Real estate, it is the golden investment for all over the history of Egypt. Why the bubble will never burst? Why? Because the cost of production will never drop. How the cost of production is going to decrease? Unfortunately, cost of building, cost of labor, everything, as I mentioned, that we are expecting that the inflation will increase it and the cost of production. So this is the third type. The fourth, which is not preferable, which is the portfolio of different currency, not one currency, because the dollar in risk, the euro is in risk. So I made a call for one of my friends. I told her, can we buy a Chinese cryptocurrency? I have to put any amount of money in this cryptocurrency. My students was telling me, come and buy Bitcoins. Stupid, it is risky. Nowadays, I'm asking, how can I buy a Chinese cryptocurrency? Because this is highly appealing, and this is referred to Ramon question. China is going to come very, very, very fast in the coming year. And you write another question.
Yes, I do. I'm very ready. Because it was quite intriguing. I mean, obviously, زي ما حضرتك you concluded before the future, you made it very clear that it now became a must to consider the next pandemic, and I think that you meant very largely a lot of crises. Our generation has lived through many of these very heavyweight crises, and بنشوف انه automatically the first sectors that get harmed tourism وراها كل service industry. في نفس الوقت بنشوف انه دولة زي مصر is a very high potential, very unique country in terms of richness. What is your professional advice about the sectors that can give Egypt the economic safety, stability, facing such challenges? Have they shifted strategic from the tourism service to this area? Yani, where is the safety that Egypt can invest in, knowing and as a country it is very much blessed, tremendously rich in potential in terms of industry and economy? Thank you.
Okay, this is a very risky question, because when I told I will make a reflection on myself as I learned. When I asked my boy, study well, and he said, okay, mom, I will do. He is very smart, he is intelligent, he have the tools, he can do things, but he didn't utilize the resources in the proper way. He left himself in the U-shape. I didn't recover quickly. He relaxed and didn't recover. Unfortunately, the Egyptian economy, the recovery period of the tourism, it takes more than 10 years, unfortunately. Whenever we enter we overcome it, we never return back, even if the values of the revenues increases of the tourism, but we take a U shape, we didn't take the V shape. Why? Because we are depending on the $1 products. We are selling the services with the cheap price. Ukraine people came back to Egypt, but unfortunately, they come for the cheap products. We have Marsa Alam, which is outstanding. And when you go for Marsa Alam and you Google for the pricing, it is a premium product. It is a value-added product. So in order to provide a safety product, you want to provide a high return, people are interesting to come in Egypt, but you have to make a positioning of your customer in the tourism sector in order to gain people, because you can come and pay, and people are willing to pay, and our currency is cheaper in comparison to the other currencies, so it is very appealing. But if we keep looking for $1 product, unfortunately, the value added would be very, very, very low.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, I think we have, I know that we are running out of time, but there is one last interesting question. Haitham Shorbagi is saying, hi, Dr. Doaa. And his question is, within an expected coming pandemic, globalization challenges, developing countries challenges, as well as political instability. From your point of view, what are our opportunities and main advices to establish a strong, stable economy?
It's a very complicated question.
Yes.
Very
yes.
smart and very complicated question.
Yes.
Globalization, we start to be deglobalizing, first of all. And I'm quite happy with the deglobalization or delocalization, by the way, because this will be in a positive situation for the Egyptian government. I'm so happy. Delocalizations. Yes, we have, as well as the political instability, it depends on the utilization of the resources that we have. If we win in the instability, we will be the coming tycoons, my dear. We'll be the giant that we're coming. If we win and overcome the instability and the evil that they are looking around us, we will be the coming tycoon because we have a huge youth, we have a huge resources, we have a huge potentiality. You cannot imagine how the youth have an idea and how they are having outstanding performance, but it depends on overcoming the instability because people want to dominate the whole region. So, inshallah, I'm quite very confident that we are going to cover the coming period because we have a good intentions, we have a good people, and we are fighting for our lives, and we don't have any evil inside us, and we are going to cover it. Yes, we have opportunities because we are underutilizing our resources. We are having a good potentiality. We have a very tremendous efforts. We have a lot of things. If we are utilizing the resources efficiently and we are having a little bit of manufacturing and technology and we start to export products, medication and such a things, trust me, we will recover back the old golden era time. Yes, we have the potentiality. I'm usually have a good thoughts and have a good optimistic points.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. This was the last question, and really it's a pleasure and honor to be here with us in this webinar. And from myself, I learned a lot from you from this webinar.
Thank you so much. I was looking how can I'm going to spend 1 hour talking without many things. So I have to tell story for the people in order to make them engagement. I'm quite happy that I benefit people, and I'm thank you for the nice invitation. And thank you for giving me the time to look for this. And thank you, Dr. Ines. It's an honor that we have you with us. You have a time to listen to this webinar. It is an honor once again. And thank you, Dr. Shireen, Dr. Muharram, Dr. Ramon. I'm really thankful. And I wish that I can have a little bit of sharing my thoughts. Thank you again. Have a nice time.
Thank you so much, Dr.
Thank you very much, Dr. Doaa. Thank you, Yani. At the end of this beautiful intellectual evening, I need to thank Dr. Doaa for such an informative and fresh simplification perspective of the economy. Thank you very much for your genuine efforts. Thank you for making economy in epidemic time easy and simple. The future is not near, the future is here. Dear audience, I hope you have enjoyed your time. Thank you for attending with us and for your very active, fruitful contribution. Stay tuned to the school communication every other Saturday, a new speaker, a new angle, a new topic. We are planning ahead some international figures, senior officials, key decision makers will be joining us, inshallah. Keep checking your schedule. Wishing you all a lovely evening and a great start.
دكتور إيناس بس كانت عايزة تضيف حاجة ف
yes, of course.
دكتور إيمو يعمل أميوت بس
طبعا. Yes, you can unmute, Dr. Ines.
لا أنا مش عايزة حاجة غير إن أنا أشكركم. Thank you very much. It was really great. And I just want to thank you at the end. Thank you very much, Dr. Doaa. Thank you, Dr. Shireen. Thank you, everybody. And best of luck for the lovely MBA Smart Village. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Doaa.
Thank you so much.
Lovely evening, everybody.
Have a great evening.
Thank you. Enjoy your time. Bye-bye.
Good luck. Stay safe.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.
Bye-bye.